Good morning, everybody. Turn my phone Wi-Fi off here real quick so I don't have to worry about taking away from the internet. So hello, good morning. It is Thursday and it is November 1st. Brand new day of a brand new month. And so some of you are on here right now and you are like on top of the world. You're like, man, October knocked it out of the park, better than I even imagined. And some of you are like, man, October, thank goodness it's over. I'm ready for a new month. This is going to be a better month. So what I can tell you is we had a lot of people on our team promote last month, and every single one of them knew they were going to do it long before they actually did it. And the reason why is because they set it as a goal. So today we're starting module 3, and we're going to get into goal setting and the importance of goal setting and why it is the recommended method. It's basically just knowing what's going to happen before it happens and declaring it and writing it down and deciding. You know, one of my favorite words in the English language is decide, because, you know, we have a word homicide that means the death to someone else, right? We have the word suicide that means the death to self. But the word decide means the death to all other options. It means that you have determined, you've decided something is going to happen. It's not a matter of trying. It's a matter of doing it and getting it done. And we see that kind of mentality really, really works in this company. So we're going to get into this. We're going to talk about it. If you're just getting on now and you didn't see module 2 is about attitude. That's about positioning ourselves so that we have the right reasons to succeed, because reasons are like fuel for our goals. So hold on one second. I'm going to get us going here. Let's see, share.
Hello, I'm Brian Tracy, and I'm really excited to have this opportunity to speak to you today about Jim Rohn's message and the importance of setting goals. Now, some of you may know me. I'm an entrepreneur, a speaker, a best-selling author, and success expert. They say that. I had the great pleasure of knowing Jim and working with him and sharing a stage with him for 20 years all over the country. We often traveled together and shared several meals together, and we inspired each other over the years. Now, when I spoke at a memorial for my friend Jim a couple of years ago, I said that he was a great American because he taught the American dream, and he taught that it was possible for anyone to achieve. And Jim didn't just teach this, he believed it, and he knew it was true because he lived the American dream. Jim was raised in a small farming community in Idaho, and he dropped out of college after just 1 year. He wasn't well connected or rich, and he didn't have a fancy degree on his wall. But Jim lived an extraordinary life. His stories and experiences inspired millions of people all over the world. Jim's legacy is proof that anyone can start from anywhere and achieve anything they can put their mind to. But Jim didn't just get lucky and stumble into his success or have it handed to him. He worked for it the old-fashioned way. He earned it. And that's another essential Jim Rohn lesson. In order to achieve success and reach your goals, there are certain things that you must do. Jim taught those things in wonderfully plain-spoken fashion. Anyone who's ever listened to Jim knows that feeling of a light being switched on inside and hearing an inner voice that says, I can do that. I believe this is one of the reasons Jim's message connected with so many people all over the world. The lessons he shared were simple, but they were based on eternal truths and universal wisdom. Now, because of all of his success, some people think that Jim had all the answers, and he would be the first to tell you that it just wasn't true. In fact, Jim was an eternal student. He always wanted to learn more. I remember him always reading and journaling and observing. He was like a sponge, wanting to absorb as much as he could so he would be able to share what he had learned with as many people as possible. He believes strongly that you can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set for yourself. He always said, if someone else can do it, why not you? Now, every successful person I've ever known has made a habit of ongoing, focused learning. So I know Jim would be thrilled that you are here today ready to learn. And I'm thrilled that you've made a commitment to making personal growth one of your goals. Because as you'll learn from Jim in this module, the more you become, the more you can achieve. You see, your chance of achieving any goal is directly related to the type of person you are. There are plenty of people who have big goals, but sadly, they do not do the work necessary to become a person worthy of achieving those goals. Becoming a millionaire is a worthy goal, but it isn't the money that matters. What's really important is the person you must become to earn that kind of money. In other words, the most important thing in life is character, not things. So that is what this module is all about. Goals and the kind of person you must become in order to achieve them. We'll discuss how to set goals by getting clear on what you want to achieve, creating a plan, and identifying the steps that you must take in order to reach your full potential. Jim and I both agree that having a clear set of goals is imperative to achieving any kind of success. After all, without goals, how do you know which direction your life should take? Goals really do matter. Now, I've been all over the world, and I've spoken now in 72 countries before audiences of as many as 25,000 people, teaching them how to set goals. And here's what I tell all of them. Write down your goals, make plans to achieve them, and then work on your plans every single day. Learning a step-by-step system to setting and working toward your goals is essential. It will save you years of hard work in achieving the same level. Now, both Harvard and Yale universities have conducted studies and found that people with written goals earn 10 times more on average and were 10 times more successful financially on average than people who didn't have a set of written goals. That's pretty significant. Truly successful people don't just succeed by accident or luck. They determine what they want, they set goals, they make a plan to achieve them, and then they work on those plans every day. In fact, a recent study found that 85% of wealthy people have one big goal that they work on all the time. Only 3% of poor people have a single goal, which they don't work on all the time. Now, we all want more stuff. We all want to be successful. It's human nature to desire and strive for more than what we already have. We all have a general idea of what we'd like our lives to look like, a vague image or concept of how we would like things to be. We want to make more money, spend more time with our families, build lives that are comfortable and happy, and we want to make a difference in our communities. We all have hopes and dreams, but these are not goals. These are just wishes and fantasies until you crystallize them. A goal is not the same as a wish. A goal is clear, written, and specific. It can be quickly and easily described to another person. You can measure it, and you know when you've achieved it or not. Very few people ever learn how to set goals, and by extension, most people don't ever reach the level of success that they desire. In fact, many people don't even know exactly what they want. Setting goals allows you to draft a specific plan and gives you a way to measure results. Like a blueprint in building a home, you use goals to build a great life. So you know when your goal has been achieved. Goals give you a sense of meaning and purpose and a clear sense of direction. As you move towards your goals, you feel happier and stronger. You feel more energized and effective. You feel more competent and confident in yourself and your abilities. Every step you take towards your goals increases your belief that you can set and achieve even bigger goals in the future. This goes back to Jim's core lesson. The more you become on the inside, the more you can achieve, and conversely, the more you can accomplish on the outside. You see, human beings are what they call teleological. It's a Greek word which means aimed at a purpose. It means that we are purpose-driven. We are, by our very nature, goal-seeking organisms. We're designed to be working toward goals on a regular daily basis and are continually driven forward towards the accomplishment of the things that are important to us. It's actually in our DNA. And only when we're working toward goals are we really, really happy. We aren't happy unless we feel ourselves moving toward the accomplishment of something we want. Now, Oliver Wendell Holmes, the great Supreme Court Justice, said, "The great thing in this world is not so much where we stand as in what direction we are moving." How do we know which direction to move until we have a plan? Just like a roadmap for our lives. We design a plan by setting goals and then breaking them down into steps. We create our plan by first understanding where we want to end up and then determining who we have to become in order to get there. You feel truly happy only when you're making progress, step by step, towards something that is important to you. The satisfaction of a desire leads to more desires. It's this ambition that drives us forward and allows us to accomplish greater and greater things. As you go forward and begin this module on goal setting, I want to encourage you to follow Jim's instructions and dream big. Don't limit yourself to what you think you should want or might soon achieve. Stretch your imagination, leap ahead, and really let yourself want more than you've ever accomplished before. Decide exactly what you want in every key area of your life. Clarity is so important. The greater clarity you have, the more quickly you draw the resources you need to achieve it. Now, I teach a process called idealization. Imagine you have all of the time and money in the world, and imagine you could wave a magic wand and achieve anything you wanted in any area of life. Think about your income, your business, and your career. What would they look like if they were perfect in every way? Think about your health and your family. Imagine you could create the world that you desire, and there are no limitations to what you might achieve. Your list should really energize you. You should think to yourself, this would be great if I could accomplish these things. And if some of your goals feel a little scary at first, that's okay. That's good. Sometimes we get a little complacent and we limit ourselves by working toward things that aren't really enough of a stretch. So don't create little goals. As Jim explained in the previous module, some people have such lousy goals that they lead pretty lousy, uninspired lives. Let your list of goals be invigorating and exciting and fun, getting you up and getting you going every day. Once you have this list, you should examine each individual goal and ask yourself, what do I have to do to make achieving this goal a reality? What is the first step I would have to take today? Trust me, the first step is the most important, and you already know what it will be. I will warn you, it may take great courage to take that first step. Making significant life changes isn't always easy, and it isn't always accomplished overnight. But if you're serious about your personal growth and development, I encourage you to take the first step to becoming the kind of person you need to be in order to achieve everything you want. As you go through this module and start writing down your goals, you should follow Jim's advice and don't spend too long thinking about each goal. Trust your first instincts and make a quick list. You'll be amazed at what you already know you want to achieve. When you only have 30 seconds to write down your goals, they're really accurate and sometimes more accurate than if you had 30 minutes or 3 hours. And yes, it's essential that your goals be in writing. Don't leave them to memory or chance. The act of writing is itself a very important part of the goal-setting process. There's an incredible connection between the head and the mind, and writing is a psychoneuromotor activity, a big fancy psychological word that says that it activates your whole brain, and you program those written goals straight into your subconscious mind, almost like pushing save on your computer, and it goes into your ongoing 24-hour-a-day operating system. Francis Bacon said, "Writing maketh an exact man." Jim Rohn said, "Don't use your head as a filing cabinet. However you say it, put your goals in writing." Create your goals as if they are going to be manufactured in a factory. They must be clear, specific, detailed, and measurable. But keep them simple. You don't have to get too complicated. If a small child could understand your goals without a great deal of explanation. If your goals are too complicated for a 6-year-old to understand, you need to simplify them, both for yourself and for others. Again, let Jim be your guide and follow his instructions. Keep things simple and clear. That makes them much easier to accomplish. As you go forward into this module, be sure to have a pen and your workbook or a notebook ready. Remember, you have front row seats to this intense goal-setting workshop, so do all the work that Jim asks you to do, right on the spot. There will be opportunities to press pause between activities so you can have a chance to complete each step before going on to the next. Be prepared and committed to doing the work, but also don't forget to have fun. You can do this. You can unlock and unleash your full potential by making daily goal setting a habit. By developing laser-like focus on your goals, you can change the way you think and direct your energy toward the positive, concentrating on what you want rather than what you don't have. I challenge you to resolve from this moment forward to become a goal-seeking organism, like a guided missile or a homing pigeon, moving unerringly towards the goals that are most important to you. There's no greater way to guarantee you'll have a happy, healthy, and prosperous life than if you continually work on being, having, and achieving more of the things you really want. Clear, written goals give you a roadmap that will guide you to personal and professional success. Goals enable you to overcome any obstacle and make the possibilities for your future achievement unlimited. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Now, if you're ready to continue your journey with Jim, grab your pen and go on to Module 3.
I don't know about you guys, but I am excited about this. This is such good stuff because, you know, some of you may have never even really took the time and sat down and thought through what it is that you really, really want, right? What's that song? Tell me what you want, what you really, I don't know why it just popped in my head, but you got to know what you want, right? And I think that part of this process, part of the work, it's just figuring it out. What do I want, right? You have to know what you want so you know where you're headed. All right, just to recap here a little bit, I love Brian Tracy's incredible. I mean, can you imagine speaking in 72 different countries on goal setting? So he probably knows what he's talking about. He's created so many courses, done so much, traveled, and just done a lot. I love this whole idea of the more you become, the more you can achieve. You know, we talk about setting those audacious goals, those scary goals. Those goals are like, I don't know if I could ever do that, but it's just something that you would love to eventually do. And then there's this process of becoming the person that we need. So becoming means change, right? It means growing. So becoming so that we can attract the resources, so that we can gather what's necessary to move into this place that we dream of going to and that we purpose to going to. And he says you have to become worthy of achieving your goals. Right. And it's not about the things or the stuff. It's about the character that's created in us to achieve a lot of these different goals. Getting clear on what you want to achieve. And just the fact that by writing, because I know across the years, I talked to some people and they're like, that's silly. You know, that goal, that writing those goals down. I know what I want. It's in my head. Right. Well, all I needed to hear was if you write it down that you're 10 times more likely to do it. I'm like, okay. Thank you for that statistic. I'm going to write them down now because I want to be 10 times more likely to accomplish my goals. So important to do that. You know, a big reason why we do the dream boards and stuff. So is it kind of that next step? You write it down you have it on paper, and then you have it hanging up, right? So you can read it every day and remind yourself, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want, over and over and over, so that our focus is on moving in that direction towards that. 85% of wealthy people have a single goal they work on all the time. I thought that was huge, because it's like attacking that one thing. You know, for all of you that follow Dave Ramsey talks about when you have debt, to focus on one debt at a time, one piece at a time, because then you become like a heat-seeking missile, locked in. You don't get confused because you're overwhelmed, right? Because you've got 5-6 different credit cards. He's like, focus on that one, get that one thing done. So when you have all these goals, because we're going to go through some exercises where it's going to be like, hey, write down not 5, not 10, but write down 50 things you want. And the first time I did that, I got to like 12, and I was like, what do I want? And I had to really start digging. I had to start, thinking about things. And I started imagining myself like in a helicopter, like, man, that would be a lot of fun if I was flying the helicopter. Let me write down, become a helicopter pilot. Just because I had to start thinking and coming up with these things that would be fun, or that I would enjoy doing. So like a blueprint, building a home, you use your goals to create your life. Jim Rohn talks all the time about designing your life, like waking up one day and knowing that you took specific steps to get where you are right then and there. So like, say you want time and financial freedom. That's a goal of yours, time and financial freedom. So you can bring your husband home, be home with your kids, travel throughout the year, do whatever you however you want to design your life. And you've been working towards that. The more you become on the inside, the more you can achieve on the outside. Again, just another way of saying it's about this becoming process. It's about this growing process, this changing process, so that we can all move from who we are and where we are now to who we want to be and where we want to be eventually. Begin with the end in mind. I love that. And I think I've probably said this 1,000 times on 1,000 Zooms, but when you read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is begin with the end in mind. And ultimately, I'm going to be going to Illinois at the end of November and conducting my first funeral, which that wasn't a goal of mine, but some family said, would you do it? I'm like, no, okay. I don't really want to, but so this will be my first year I did a wedding a few months ago, and now I'm doing a funeral. But at that funeral, so it's going to remind me of something when I'm there, right? Someday you and I are going to be, the funeral is going to be around us, right? I mean, if you don't know it yet, 10 out of 10 of us aren't getting out of this alive, okay? Just so you know, if you didn't know that already. Eventually, we're going to be laying there, whatever, in the casket or not, right? If you want to, I don't know if you want to be cremated or whatever, but you're going to be there. At the memorial service, people are going to show up. So first of all, I believe that you can become the kind of person that no building in town can hold all the people that want to show up to pay their respects to you. Imagine that. Imagine that they have to put speakers on the outside of the building because the whole town shows up and people flew in from all over the world because you impacted their life to the degree that they have to come pay their respects. I had a friend in the military and they had to put speakers on the outside, and the whole town of like Lexington, Virginia showed up. I mean, there were hundreds of people outside the buildings. They couldn't even fit inside the building, right? So first of all, imagine that. Who do you have to become so that your funeral has not 10 people there, right? Or 50 or 100, the people that have to come like, oh, dang, it's my brother, I should show up, right? The people that want to show up. So thousands are there. And, so the place is packed. And then you have your children talking about you. What are they going to say? See, you can determine what your children say about you. Do you know that? You can determine what your friends are going to say about you. You can determine what your spouse, you want a spouse that's there going, man, finally this day got here. Finally I get that life insurance policy, right? Or, oh man, my husband was the most amazing guy in the entire planet. Let me tell you about a few of the things that we experienced together, right? So you and I get to make these decisions now that will affect the way our funeral goes and what the people say about us at our funeral. So ultimately, right, and even after the funeral, I mean, when you're there and you're facing God Almighty himself, do you want him to hear well done, or do you want to hear him go, well, big difference, right? I want to hear him say, well done, not, well, I gave you a lot of skills and talents and people, and you kind of jacked it all up for 97 years or 118 years, right? I want to hear the well done. So I hope you do too. And I assume you do, or you wouldn't be wasting your time at 7:30 on a Thursday morning. On November 1st, I know half of you were up past midnight last night anyway. So beginning with the end in mind, the greater clarity you have, the quicker you'll gather the resources. And the last thing I put down here was don't create little goals. Don't create the ones that you don't even need to create. Don't say, I'm gonna breathe today. That's you're probably gonna breathe today anyway. Or I'm gonna remember to take the trash out. Which is probably something I should write down because I forget. I hear the guys pulling up and I'm like, oh man, I gotta run out there. But have big, hairy, audacious, scary goals. The ones just writing it down, you're almost shaking because you're like, I don't even know if I should write that down. That's a big scare. Like some of you right now, you might be scared of the idea of going diamond. But write it down anyway. Write it down. Just write it down. I promise you, so many people have been more scared than you, and they did it anyway. They went diamond anyway, so you can too. So your goals need to be clear, specific, detailed, and measurable, okay? Clear, specific, detailed, and measurable. All right, let's, man, I'm doing good. I'm done talking before 8. That's like, that hardly ever happens, right? So that means Tay gets more time today. Tay and Carrie's up again. That's 2 days in a row, guys. 2 times in a row. What's going on, Tay? You and Carrie are both becoming early birds. The early bird gets the worm, right?
I know. I think the best thing that he said for me was I get a front row seat to just hear you, man. You was literally on fire, and I just loved everything that you had to say. And I think I just honestly, I just think back to when you said I just thought it just took me back to that first men retreat, and you talked about the homicide is death to someone else, suicide is death to yourself, and decide it's the death to all other options. And I think that was something at that first men's retreat that, and I decided that's when I had just rewired. And then I heard you say that, and I just like that literally just sparked something in my brain that like I made a decision that day, that weekend that, I was going to change for the better. And that's something I haven't turned from. And I think just hearing you just give us those simple words in ways that like I can just totally like relate and just go out and apply it. Like once I decided I wanted to do this, there's no looking back. And I thought that was something that you shared that weekend that I've took with, and I just ran with that, up to this day. So I just thought that was just so awesome. And I think the awesome thing that he said, like you can learn anything you need to learn to achieve a goal. And it said you just be specific with what you want, write it down, have clarity, and just know where you want to go. Like the resources will come in. And I just think that's so true. And I just think, honestly, I just think about, I know I got on at the end of last month, I just talked about how my wife was upset about, she wanted the leadership retreat so bad. And it didn't happen for her. But the thing for me was like, I had to remind her, like, your goals didn't go anywhere. It wasn't like you were just shooting this leadership retreat with no goals in mind. Like you had your goals already written out, what you wanted. So I just pointed her back to what she had written down, the goals that she wanted. And I just had to remind her, like, it may not happen right now, but like there's something bigger at play here. And the thing that I love about that is we have so many leaders showing up to this every Tuesday and Thursday. And the thing that we figured out was it wasn't because she wasn't ready for this leadership retreat. It was because her leaders had more in them that they need to be drawn out. And because they just took that extra time, them showing up consistently these Tuesdays and Thursdays, just continuing to grow, that they was able to they absolutely killed October. And I think I go back to where you said how your team was promoted. It was like they already was preparing themselves for that. Like they knew they was going to hit these ranks, and it was only a matter of time. So I think for us, it was just a wake-up call that you don't have to do everything. Like you don't have to always lead from the front. Sometimes you just need to be a coach. You need to coach the leaders up on you and just draw out within them. So I think the best thing for us to like this month was just seeing our leaders just really just dig within themselves and just draw out that the skills and the potential that they have, and just watching them like achieve the goals themselves that they set for themselves. So for me, it was an awesome moment. I'm just so proud of my wife, and I'm just so proud of our team because they just for the month of October, they just showed up and they just showed out. And just the fact that they still, after promoting, after putting in all these, like working all these hard hours, like they still decided to get up this morning and get on the Zoom and continue to invest into themselves. And I just love that, because to me, like, that's just showing like you're not just preparing for nothing. Like what you're doing today is preparing you for that next level of success tomorrow. So for me, it's not that you're just climbing the ranks, but it's getting ready to sustain in those ranks. And one last thing I'll leave you guys with, I've been reading this book. It's called Next Generation Leader. It's an awesome book. And he says success isn't the hard part. He said maintaining success is the hard part. And I think the thing about me is, like, for me, like, you don't want to just be successful. You want to be successful at being successful. And the only way to do that is to continue to show up. And like he said, just be an eternal student. And just know, as you continue to learn, as you just continue to grow, then you're going to continue to have that success plus more. So just congratulations to everybody on this Zoom who's been showing up consistently, who's they're starting to reap a harvest for that. So I'm just proud of our team. I'm proud of your team, Chad. You say you had a lot of people to promote. And that just, for me, it's an awesome thing to see, because people are really working hard, and it's just showing people like it don't happen by accident. You literally have to take responsibility and accountability for your life, and you have to do the things necessary. Even though it's hard work now, like, it will produce that harvest of righteousness if you just continue to show up and do what you need to do in order to grow to that next person. So I'm just proud of my wife. I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of everybody on your team, Chad. I'm just proud of you for just having the resources that we need in order to just continue to grow and become the leader that we need to be. So just congratulations to everybody who just continue to show up, and just this is just the beginning of the momentum. This is just going to carry us into conference, and just think about where you're going to be next year around this time. Don't just stop right now. Like, set goals. So what do I want my team to be next year around October? So just think about what you promoted to this month and increase that, and just increase yourself as a person, knowing, like, if I'm a double diamond right now, then if I want to be an ambassador diamond, I have to continue to show up and develop that ambassador diamond mindset today. Like, it doesn't start next year. Like, it starts today. So just continue to invest in yourself, knowing, like, you're going to get the goal, the end goal that you have in mind. If you just continue to set clear goals and just continue to work towards those goals. So just congratulations to all you guys, and just thank you, Chad, because ultimately, to me, it all points back to you, man, because you made a decision. You decided, depth to everything else, I'm going to continue to grow, and I'm going to continue to share the resources needed for others to grow. So just thank you for everything that you do, man.
You are welcome. What you got to share today, Carrie?
Okay, so I only have a few things. That was so good, Dave. Hey, this book, we've been having a lot of good conversations on this.
I got this book, and I read this book in literally 2.5 days, and I don't usually do that. I take my time, but this book was just so awesome and so relevant with I think our company and just today's leaders, and how we're just, really developing that next generation leaders. And to me, it's not the next generation thinking in the future. Like, next generation for us is like those leaders who are under us. That next generation leaders who's going from a ruby to a diamond. So I highly recommend this book. It's an awesome book.
So we've been having a lot of good convo here lately. Since I haven't even read it, but I feel like I read a little bit. So I guess one that I really like is, he said, the more you become on the inside, the more you can achieve on the outside. And I just think that goes back to, like, getting on these Zooms, and like, we to promote to the ranks that we have, like, we became that person inside first, and then you start attracting those type of people that can get you to that, the next level. So the other one I thought was really good is concentrate on what you want rather than what you don't have, because I think about that as in, like, our team. And if you're, like, saying, like, oh, well, I don't have a runner, or I don't have, like, I can't sign distributors. Like, you're just focusing on all the things that you don't want or you don't have. And then so you focus on, like, if you have one person on your team signing loyal customers or distributors, like, you should be just so excited and focused on them. And then you just get more of what you focus on. And so I think that's a huge thing for me, is I just shifted what I said about my team and what I thought about my team. And then all of a sudden, like, it's just like I got more of those. And so that was so thing. And I thought this was so cool too, is he says, only when we are working towards the goal are we happy. And so that's why a lot of times, like, when you reach the goal, like, people who were billionaires, I was listening to this podcast, and it was saying a lot of these billionaires have these companies, and as soon as they sell their company, they commit suicide. Like, there's like a high rate of billionaires who sell their companies who commit suicide. And they were talking about that. And he said, how can you not do that? Like, what? Because this guy was transitioning out of his company. He said, well, I've already started another company. So he already had another goal, because a lot of times they have all their goals in this one thing, and they sell it, then they have nothing to be happy for, nothing to work for. And so it's so true when we, like, as soon as, like, when you don't have a goal or you're not working towards something, you feel like depressed and you just don't know. Like, we're made, you know, we're made to grow. Like, God created our souls to grow. And if you're not growing, you're dying, you know? And so that's why you should always be working towards something. And then when you're coming to the end of that next thing, like, you know, we just achieved like a huge goal of ours, but I already know like the next goal. Like, and so, yeah, like, we are going to celebrate this and we're really excited about this, but like, I'm just like, I'm already ready to go to the next thing, you know, because you can't focus too long on, you know, you can't stay here, because then you just become stagnant. You know, you can't, like, if you're on a mountain and you're like, oh, I'm good, and you're in the middle, like, you can't be good in the middle, because you'll start to go back down. You know what I'm saying? Because you're always on the slope. Like, and I don't think you're never at the top of the mountain. I think you're always on the slope. You know, you never ever reach the top. And so if you can always have that mentality, like, just never, like, you just can never stop.
Yeah, I like that too, because I think about, you know, I've climbed mountains, and you'll get out there and you'll climb a mountain, or at least I will. I'll get to the top of that mountain, and then I'm like, yeah, man, this feels so good to be at the top of the mountain. I look across and I go, ooh, look at that mountain over there. I want to go climb that one too. Right. And that's just another one, because it's the fun part isn't so much being at the top. It's the journey to the top. That's what's a blast, is doing that, because that's the achieving and the challenge, right? It's like, you know, it's like in football, Tay, you know, if you're you know, running through the 300-pound dudes trying to kill you, and, you know, spinning and, you know, getting past and all that, and you get the touchdown's great, but about 5 seconds after the touchdown, you're like, oh, right? You're like, oh, okay, we won the game. Great. Let's go win another game. The fun part's the game, the competition, the challenge. That's the fun part. I mean, yeah, it's great we're going to be celebrating today. You know, like Mark always says, do a little happy dance, right? And then get back to work, right? Like, give yourself a day, and then get right back at it. So, man, I love all the stuff that you guys are sharing. And I love that we're going to be able to get into this in detail. And again, some of it's a little bit at first, like when I say, hey, write down 50 things you want over the next 10 years. You know, and don't just think like material things, like, ooh, car, you know, everybody thinks car, house, debt free, you know, yeah, there's some things there, but that's one category of goals. There's business goals, there's family goals, there's spiritual goals, there's giving goals, there's all these different categories of goals. So, you know, when you're coming up with 50, you have to kind of dig a little bit, and that's going to help you understand who you were. Because I think it was it wasn't Martin Luther King. It was Mark Twain. Mark Twain said the two best days in a person's life are the day they're born and the day they figure out why. And I think when we take inventory of our talents and of our giftings and what we naturally gravitate towards and what we naturally like to do, and we start to put all that together, that all fits into the destiny and calling that we have in our life. So when we understand why we were built, and we can work every day doing the things that bring us joy and the reasons why we were built, then you become so happy. Like for me, the one thing I love the most is seeing a light bulb from despair to hope shift in someone's head. When I can see that transformation happen, that's what I was designed to do. I was designed to take people out of darkness into the light, because I went through that process, and I know how great it feels to go from darkness into the light. And so if I can help 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 do that, that's what brings me joy. That's what brings me happiness. That's what I'm going to work towards every single day. But it took me like 40 years, you know, to figure that out. And when I wasn't thinking about it, when I was just mindlessly showing up to work every day and grumbling and moaning and going home, I wasn't getting any closer to anything, because I was just in that hamster wheel, just going, I'm a zombie. Let me go home and zone out and lay on the couch and watch whatever show I'm into that year, you know? So it's important for us to like get out of our own circumstance, our own lives, kind of like the 30,000. Imagine like when you're in an airplane, you look down, you get to see the big picture, you get to see the city and the town and everything from way up high. Sometimes we got to get out of our own lives enough to look at it and go, what do we ultimately want? Where do we ultimately want to go? And I think that's going to be so helpful. But Tay, you were talking, and I felt like I was listening to a CEO of a major corporation. And I thought, man, you guys need to start like Staying Young Enterprises or something young. You know, I don't know if you already have that, but I was just like, that would be so cool. I could just see it in lights. Staying Young Enterprises with like, you know, Black Diamond, double, triple Black Diamond. Because you go Black Diamond, Carrie, Tay goes Black Diamond, and then Carrie 2.0 goes Black Diamond. That's $300,000 a month. You guys can do, you know, go buy an island, whatever. Right? Have 25 more babies. You have your own football team in your own city. So, yes, all right. That's on your goal list. Good stuff. All right, guys. Carrie's like, no, it ain't. All right. Okay. So does anybody else, we have just a few more minutes. We have like 5 more minutes. Ashley says she's laughing right now. Does anybody else have anything you would like to share today? I know I text a couple people on here, but they can't really speak right now because they're tied up doing kids for school and stuff like that. Anybody going once, going twice? Just message in here, unmute yourself. There's a hand raise button, anything like that. Okay, well, look at that. We're getting done 5 minutes early. Hey, make sure you go into the files, right? And it's going to give you the last thing I put in the files there. You have some sheets you can print out. They're going to help you a lot with goal setting. So like the first one says, what things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? So like I wrote down college degree, Army officer, ambassador diamond, CEO of Made for More, and author. Right. So 5 things you're already proud of. Write those down. And then what do you want in the next 10 years? It's got make a list of 50 things. And it gives you all the space right here. So start doing this. This is important. It's going to help you understand who you are and why you were created and what you want. And don't leave any of that blank. Like write down all 50 things. And it might take you a few days to, you know, process through that. But we'll be talking more about that on Tuesday. So y'all have an awesome weekend. Hope you had an incredible October. I can't wait to hear what new and exciting things are in store for November. And we'll be back on here Tuesday. So y'all have a blessed day. See y'all later.